You do look at certain frames or images from the show, and Spader in the long coat and the silencer gun and the hat, and there is sort of a little bit of an alt kind of comic look to the show. And we thought a comic would be kind of cool. Nicole Phillips, who was our script coordinator and is now a writer on our staff, she's a comic person, she's a Comic-Con person, and she took the reins and has broken out stories that are sort of unique to the comics, I think.
It seemed like a match made in heaven to get a show writer who also written comics to work on the comic for us. And so that's what we did. We got Nicole on board. Absolutely thrilled to get her.
I had experience running a comic series and had written comics prior to Blacklist. So I jumped into this, head first, pretty excited with the unique ideas we could explore through comics and the stories we could tell.
I think that it gives another little window, to spend some time with our characters and see them in a different way than they normally see them on TV. In a way, the comic book is for the few and the brave.
I actually listened to her in a podcast where she was talking to Jon Bokenkamp. Bokenkamp's like, hold on, some of this stuff is untouchable territory, and it was great that they're in the writer's room and she has Jon Bokenkamp right there, so she knows what she can tease. So it's great for the Uber fans, so they know that they can get stuff that's true to the universe. It's not false, it is clues, but without giving away or ruining anything, any surprises for the show. I think it's just great.
There's no limit to the scope of stories you can tell. Your artist can bring anything to life.
The comics live in a little bit of a parallel world to the Blacklist. They have the same mythology, but they can go off and meet other characters. They can tell stories that we can't.
There's an opportunity to showcase smaller character moments and backstory that may not gel with the flow of like a 60-minute TV episode. Like how Liz reacts when she thinks Reddington is dead, or how she struggles with her feelings after shooting the Attorney General of the United States, or who are some of the people from Red's past who've helped shape him into the concierge of crime we know today. So it's been a great tool, to get to know our characters a little more intimately. The goal was to place them sort of as like lost episodes.
We decided earlier on that we wanted to do stories that took place across 5 issues as a story arc.
Issues 1 through 5 deal with a blacklister called the Gambler, and they take place during the second half of season 2. And then our next 5-issue arc has a brand new blacklister called the Arsonist, and that takes place during the first half of season 3, while Liz is still on the run and being chased by our task force.
I would love to have one or several of her blacklisters get into the show. I think The Arsonist is a great story that production-wise is just a little tricky to do. The Gambler is another episode that we talked about a lot. For whatever reason, we just can't figure it out. Some of those stories that she's able to tell are just better suited for the comics, but I'd love it if we can get, some of those guys to visit our show.
There's a few dozen people who all work together to make a single issue every month. My absolutely amazing artist, Benny Lobel, our colorists, our letterers, my editor, David Leach. But the first step is the script. My scripts tend to be pretty detailed, so by the time I'm done writing a 22-page issue, the script itself ends up being between 30 and 40 pages. Each page starts with panel 1, then I describe what's in the foreground, what's in the background, describe the scene, the dialogue, expressions on characters' faces, what the angle should be, as much information as I can possibly give Benny, and then the same for each panel following.
Lo primero es, evidentemente, leerse el guión, buscar una narrativa visual.
Benny then draws what's called thumbnails. These are little sketches of each individual page, the whole issue, all 22 pages. These are black and white and very quick, so the likenesses aren't perfect, but it's just him setting the scene.
Primero empiezo con el boceto, el boceto del personaje tal y como va a salir en la viñeta. Y normalmente lo que doy acabado siempre es lo que sería el cuerpo, dejando la cara para lo último. Luego para dibujar la cara, buscar la expresión concreta, busco muchísimas fotos o capturas de pantalla de la serie misma, viendo al personaje desde varios ángulos y viendo cuál es el ángulo que más encaja con la pose, la expresión que quiero dibujar en esa viñeta concreta.
Once we got signed off thumbnails, we move on to pencils. Now Benny's a digital artist. He does most of his stuff, or in fact all of his stuff, using a computer. It's quite impressive. So he does actual very little drawing on paper. So he will go from thumbnails to what you could almost be considered to be finished inks.
That's the point when it really comes to life, because Benny's inked them so you get shadows, you get details on the faces. It's always a wonderful feeling when those layouts come back for the first time, because I've been picturing these panels in my head, and then Benny, he'll end up doing something that was not in the script. He'll make a connection between these panels, that wasn't there, or he'll do something with the layout that I didn't intend, and it brings this whole new aspect of the scene to life and just makes it so much better.
El guión, de hecho, me llega ya acompañado con muchas referencias visuales de los escenarios que ella se imagina, de los personajes como ella se los imagina.
I think in issue 7, so the second issue of the Arsonist arc, where I had written in the script, Liz and Tom were having a phone conversation. And I just written in the script, hey, Benny, I want it to feel like these people are in two separate places, but also very close.
Porque los dos estaban a cierta altura, los dos estaban sentados, y utilizamos esa simetría colocándolos la viñeta junto a la otra, y los dos espalda con espalda, que parecía que se estaban apoyando el uno en el otro.
And it just felt like very natural and like they were kind of leaning on each other for support. And I was like, man, that's genius, come on.
Once we've got the finished digital inks approved, we then go to colours.
Al colorista, que es la que da el color final, los efectos en caso de haberlos. Luego viene la parte del rotulado, que es donde ponen los globos con los textos.
And then with that, we add the cover. We have big meetings where we discuss covers and we draw different sketches and we try and find the right covers. And then we can go to print. And we try and do that once every 4 weeks. So it's quite a lot of work.
I think for a lot of the cast, it was the first time having their likenesses portrayed in a comic book, so that was exciting.
It was fun to see Aram as a comic book character, and Wrestler with the hair, and Liz and Samara. It was a lot of fun.
It's like you would want to read it, you want to look at it. I mean, it's you in there. You get to become like a real superhero.
My boobs are way bigger in the comic book. That's fun. Always having a marvelous hair day in the comic book too. It's pretty great. It's very novel to see yourself in a cartoon form.
It was a trip seeing it for the first time. I was like, do I do that? Is that what It was bizarre and exciting.
At the end of that 4 weeks, and you've done all your hard work and it's gone off to the printers, a week later, someone comes into your office and they hand you over a copy of the new comic, and you think, wow, I helped make that. I love it. I love every second of it.
I'm so grateful to have had the faith and trust of the showrunners that a comic series was something worth doing. It's just been so much fun to tell extra stories with these characters, to explore themes with them that I'm interested in, and learn just a little bit more about the Blacklist universe. It's also been great to hear from fans just how much they've enjoyed reading these stories and the extra insight that they've gotten into some of the characters through the comics.